Hello, and welcome back to Unconditional, a podcast from Transcend with Love. I'm so excited to be back. This is my 10th episode. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's big. It's a huge one. So I'm so excited that you are still watching and listening to me. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to just listen and hear what I have to say. Hopefully, it is helping some of you, at least one person out there. So, the last few weeks, I have been talking about self care, and then especially around the holidays. The holidays are still upon us. We have passed Thanksgiving, and we're coming into the different holidays in December. And for those that are you watching after this has come out, then you've experienced some of this already. But this is also what I'm about to talk to you today is actually a little bit something that happens in our daily life. So earlier, a few episodes ago, I spoke about the definition of self-care. And when I looked it up, it said that it was the practice of taking action to preserve or improve your own health. And that's become we know about that. We've talked about it. It's a big deal. It's important. It's very important, especially as a parent, especially as a mother. And I'm speaking from a mother's point of view, so I can't speak for a father's point of view. But as a mother, it's very important. Now, where it gets kind of tricky, and this is something that I struggle with, and I know a lot of people that do, but I know for myself personally, I struggle with this all the time. And I went from doing no self care when my kids were younger, when I was younger, to the last few years, finally starting to do self care. And the problem with self care and enjoying it so much is that an extreme of self care can be really bad. It could be what some people call false self care, and also called escapism. So, what escapism is when a person routinely uses an activity or behavior to escape life's realizations or realities. Um, that is a very true statement. I went from self care, from not handling anything, to going from not doing any self care to doing some self care to going into escapism. And I didn't even realize I was doing it because I kept telling myself it's self care. I've been needing self care. And yes, as much as that's true, it became and has become a crutch for me, as I'm sure it has for many other people. Where example, Netflix. I love binging shows on Netflix. And once I get stuck on one, I am so obsessive that I will pretty much waste an entire week just watching 15 episodes, let's say, or 15, seasons. I actually did that with the show. It took me months to do that, but it was straight forth, like just nonstop watching it. And it sucked up a lot of my time. And I kept excusing it. I kept excusing it because I had worked so hard and I was so overwhelmed. And so at the end, what happens is, okay, so I realized then that I was using it as an escape. The other thing that I use as an escape is travel. I love to travel, and I travel a lot more than I did before, and it's great until I use it to escape things. If I'm doing it as just, hey, this is fun, I need to go visit family, or I love to go visit this. I love the beach. The beach is like my home. Not literally, but I wish it was. I would if I use it just as a reward, or is it just, hey, let's get away for a quick experience, that's great. But I've started using it as a escape from my problems, escape from my stress. And that's when it becomes a problem. Because the difference between true self-care, as they call it, and false self-care, which is escapism, is that true self-care really, while you're doing it, you feel great. But after you do it, you feel great. You're rested physically, mentally, emotionally. You get that from the self-care. It boosts your mood. It increases your confidence. Like overall, after that experience, whether it's a movie or whether it is for a short trip or going to the beach or whatever that looks like, reading a book, going and have coffee or meeting up with a friend or just whatever. If afterwards you feel refreshed and you feel like, okay, I am ready to handle the list that I have to do today, or this big issue that I've been dealing with, or this financial stress, or this problems with my kids, or like in my case, it was a lot of all of that, and then add, my child coming out. It basically, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But so I don't even remember what I was saying. Okay, so I'm gonna go back real quick. So self-care. So the difference is that I went from using it as a self-care method. Oh, okay, I remember. So how it makes you feel. This 50-year-old brain, it needs to it's not getting any better. Um, so you come out of it feeling refreshed. You come out of it feeling like you're ready to tackle the day. You're ready to move forward, that you have that extra energy and extra, just you feel great. You feel great. Where escapism or false self-care is the complete opposite. You enjoy it temporarily. Yeah, you go to the beach, you're having this big issue, this big project at work, or you don't know how you're going to handle this conversation with your child or your family, or there's this bill that you have to pay and you don't know how you're going to pay it. So you take off for the weekend. You take off, you don't think about it, you book a hotel, you go to whatever, and yeah, you don't think about it while you're there, but as soon as you come back, you don't feel refreshed. You don't feel confident. You feel worse. You feel overwhelmed. You feel, because it added more stress. Now, not only do you have the financial stress you had before, but now you've added to it because you went on this trip that you probably shouldn't have been on, or financially shouldn't have been on, or other examples like that. But you come back and you feel more overwhelmed because you've added more stress. You feel guilty because you're like, I just wasted this time. I just wasted this money. You go into, you numb because you've numbed yourself instead of helped yourself. And by numbing, you understand that that's what you're doing. So you immediately start regretting it. And you don't come back refreshed. You come back, disappointed. I've got some words here. Guilty. You feel guilty. You feel ashamed. You feel tired. You come back more tired emotionally, mentally, physically than you did before, and you feel overwhelmed, like I said. So it just added to it. So escapism or false self-care does the complete opposite of what self-care is supposed to do, and that's where it gets tricky. For me, example, when I Netflix, for a whole weekend, I can sit there, until I did it this last weekend. I wasn't feeling good to begin with, but I used that as an excuse to escape. Certain, issues or stresses that I have, whether, life stresses that you have felt overwhelming. And so instead of, I had a list of stuff that I needed to do, but did I do it? No. I used the excuse of not feeling good, and I laid around and watched Netflix, rewatched the same show I watched that 15th season episode or 15th season show, rewatched again. I think I went through like 3 or 4 seasons in the weekend, and the entire time I was feeling bad and guilty, and I should do this, I should do that, I should go up and walk, I should do some laundry, I should take care of some of my tasks. But instead I kept convincing myself that no, I need this time because my body is telling me. And yes, my body, I didn't feel good, so my body was telling me to rest some, but I took it to an extreme. And so what did I do? I came back Sunday afternoon after spending all day Saturday and Sunday morning. And that's when I finally like, okay, I had to stop it because I was caught, my guilt and shame were just adding and adding and adding and adding. And I was just getting more overwhelming and more overwhelming. And so I finally broke, and I was like, okay, no, I have to stop this. I did finally get up. I took a shower, just anything to get me out of that funk. But the whole point is that I wasn't doing it for self-care. I was doing it to escape. I realized that that's one of my trends. That's one of my habits. I escape issues. I don't want to deal with them. So I escape temporarily to make myself feel better. And then I come back and I feel worse. And not only do I have the stuff I had before, but now I have this added stress of whatever it was that I did, spent money on or spent time on. And then also this added guilt and shame of, I know better, but yet I still did it. Why? Why, Yesenia? why did you do this and why did you do that? And I just go into this overthinking spiral in my head. So what good did this escapism do? Nothing. It was a temporary fix. It was like that immediate gratification that we're always talking about that we're so used to now. And that's what it's turned into. And anything good can turn into that. Whether it's a drink, it could turn into, if you overdo it on the drinking, it's an alcoholic. If you do it on the smoking, well, that's just bad in general. But if you overdo it on the TV, well, you don't get anything done. Same thing, overdo it on the eating, the health issues, just everything that's done in excess is bad. It's just there has to be a balance. And so I think that's the biggest problem. I know for me. And because of that, I think a lot of people struggle with the self-care because either we do nothing or we do all of it. And there's like that lack of balance in our life. And the balance is what I think gives us the peace, the calm in our life, because all of life is going to be problems and issues and ups and downs and ups and downs. But if we aren't able to handle the ups and downs, then it's always going to be chaos. And that's not a good place to come from, especially as a mother, especially as someone that has an additional, let's say, journey or trial ahead of us with our children coming out, with our family may not be accepting. So I really wanted to talk about the difference because I know that that's a huge thing for me. And it is, I can say this, I have wasted many years of my life escaping. And when I look back now, I turned 50 this year, and not that it bothers me. I really wasn't bothered by it. I was kind of excited, but I think back to the time that I've wasted escaping. And whether that's just by reminiscing or what do you say, like not rejecting, but regretting past decisions or past actions or whatever, escaping into the nostalgia of the memories and the woe is me, I shouldn't have done this, and I wish people would have done this, or escaping into blaming others. There's so many ways you can escape, from blaming yourself to blaming others to just ignoring it and diving into some other addiction. Escapism can be just as bad as any other addiction. And the problem with it is that not many of us can know the difference. And it's not as easy to tell for other people to know either. Because what it comes across is laziness and procrastination. And yes, those are real things. Procrastination is a huge thing. I have a big issue with procrastination. But this is one of the easiest ways to procrastinate. And I've read a lot that, if you have ADD or ADHD, procrastination, it's not really you're procrastinating, it's because of that. And I believe in that too. But I do believe that escapism is a part of procrastination because we don't want to deal. And it doesn't matter how big or small our problem is, dealing is the biggest thing, especially when it comes to our children coming out, because not only are we having to really deal with them to help them, in order to do that, we have to deal our own junk, our own emotional trash that's coming out, whether it's triggers from our own past or just what we've been told or what we've been taught or what we believe. Reconciling all of that, whether you do or don't, it's up to you. But it's pretty much just all of the stuff that comes out of us that we have to deal and process. That's one of the things about what I'm trying to do with Transcend with Love is helping the processing of the emotions. The emotional journey that we're going through is rough. A lot of things, most everything in life is rough. But a lot of times things are rough, and they're rough for other people as well. So you can relate to other people. It's like, yeah, okay, you've gone through the terrible twos, and other people have gone. So that's rough stage. You've gone through the teenage years. Okay, that's more acceptable, as we would call it in life. We're having an LGBTQ child, or especially one that I say especially because I just feel like that right now in our society is a lot more targeted, non-binary and transgender kids or individuals. When you have that, then not only is it just difficult stuff, it's difficult stuff that not a lot of people understand. And not a lot of people want to understand. And there's a lot of fear with it. So, in addition to the normal life stuff, this has a different layer, completely layer to it. There's only a certain amount of people that have been through this or are going to go through this. And not everybody agrees how to handle it. And so, to try to figure out what you're feeling or that you're feeling is okay is hard because you're trying to navigate through this while not knowing. So you're trying to navigate this blindly. You're going through this forest and you have blinders on. Okay. And you don't even know if to trust what you hear. You don't know to trust what you feel because you've never been there. And you've got nobody leading you. So you're in it just completely blindfolded. And so the best thing you can do is try to find if we can have that person that at least is maybe half a block down the road or a block up from just kind of yelling in our direction, even if we don't know exactly what steps they took and which path they took to get that far ahead. At least they're there, and we know that if we listen and at least follow semi where they went, then at least at that point we can get there. Okay, and then from there we can get to the next one and the next one. So it's really important that we bring ourselves to a point of realizing that we have to deal with this stuff, and we have to deal with our own emotions and process our own emotions so we can heal to help others around us. Whether you want to do this to help in general or just to help your child and your family and your surroundings is completely different and up to you. But that's where I think the self-care and the false self-care, the true self-care and the false self-care can be a really big thing, because we can sit there and we can just completely convince ourselves. I know I do. I convince myself. I justify my false self-care. I give myself all the reasons why I'm overwhelmed and woe is me, why all these things in my life has happened to me. And I can give you a list of all the stuff. And I can totally sit in that escapism and numbing while I'm playing, the victim in my head. Or I can do the actual self-care, whether it's spiritual by, praying, connecting with my God, with my higher self, and journaling, or it's emotionally through talking with the therapist or with the support group, or even doing this. This for me is very helpful and very therapeutic, because I really do feel like I'm helping other people out there, whether it's now or later, whenever this is seen, and that really helps me emotionally, and it gives me a purpose of the reasons why this all happened in my life. But regardless, so knowing that, then I really wanted to just bring kind of like the difference between both the self-care and the false self-care or escapism, because one, there's no doubt, one leaves you feeling amazing, feeling like you can tackle and conquer the world and all issues. Yes, it's going to be hard, and yes, it's going to hurt, and yes, it's going to be confusing, and you're going to have people that don't agree, and you're going to have to go against the grain maybe, or maybe you're not going to go against the grain and you still have other people that won't agree. I mean, there's always going to be someone that doesn't agree. It's who you are, who you have peace with, and and that you can sleep well at night is what matters. Okay. And so having that, and having that feeling after you go through some sort of, whether it's a massage or a walk or reading a book or whatever that looks like, going and petting puppies or kittens or whatever that looks like, community service, going and helping other people. However, whatever makes you feel like you like more confident and you come out of it refreshed, that is healthy self-care. Anything that you do that makes you feel guilty or ashamed or even more overwhelmed or exhausted, or just like it puts you like in this like whirlwind of downward spiral. That's what I'm trying to say. It is not self-care. And the sooner we can recognize it and the sooner we can accept what's going on, the quicker we can start getting ourselves out of it. And that can be, it's different for everybody. Like for me, sometimes it's just getting up and going for a walk. I've started exercising again, and I'm noticing that that's a huge difference in my energy level and my confidence boost and just my moods. So for everybody, but everybody is different. Sometimes reading a book, like I said, going to a movie, watch one movie on TV or go to the movies, go get yourself something to eat, treat yourself to a sweet, anything. But that it's something small and it's not something that's going to create more mess for you. That is what we want to do. That is what we want to do, because that way then we can then show and encourage our loved ones, our child that's going through this, our other children in nuclear family, and our extended family and friends that are dealing with their own stuff and also having to figure out how to handle this new situation that we're bringing to them. It'll help them see what you are doing, and they're going to see through you that you are healthy emotionally, that you're approaching this in a healthy manner. And when they ask you or when they see what you're doing, it's going to give them the ability to do it too. And it's going to be like, what am I doing to escape? It took me a long time, a very long time, to understand what I was doing. And now that I get it, do I still do it? Absolutely. Will I still do it? Probably. My hope is that I don't do it as much, and that when I am doing it, I can easily recognize it quicker and faster, and that way I can snap myself out of it, because that is the only way that I'm going to keep moving forward and not get stuck. So I hope this has helped. I will be putting a link to the article that I found this information on. It was on Psychology Today. So that way you can read more about it and kind of, do your own research. I always try to make sure that if I'm speaking about anything, that I put links in, so that, one, to give credit to the originator of the content, and two, to give you all the resources that you need to keep, all these links or resources I give you, please, mark them, bookmark them, whatever, so that you never know what else you can find in there that maybe, we can all add to our content together, and we can just help each other out. So if anything I have said has resonated, remember that I am available for a 30-minute free consultation to see if there's anything I can do. I am not a therapist. I am not a counselor. I am a mentor. I am here to mentor you through the emotional journey of what we're going through when our child comes out as non-binary or trans, or even if your child comes out as just, lesbian, gay, or bisexual, or any of the other letters under the rainbow flag. There's a lot of emotions to it. And sometimes, your closest friends and family member love you and they support you in the best way they can, but they've never been through it. So you're wanting the ear or the advice, or just like not even advice, because I don't give advice, just the shared experience with somebody else. Reach out to me. Okay. Whether it's, I have, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, or even if you're not, please go to my YouTube channel with Transcend with Love and subscribe to my channel. Share it as much as you can. That way, as many people can see it as possible, because you never know who's going to need to hear something. And I really am hoping, I know that this is going to reach the people that it needs to reach to, and that whatever they need to get from it, they're going to get. So with that, I say goodbye. Have a wonderful week. Remember that with unconditional love and respect for yourself and your loved ones, everything and anything can be transcended. Have a wonderful day.